Caleb is starting to emerge as elite. The C in Caleb stands for elite.
What?
That was Cam Newton. That was eclectic. That was real. That's what you did
Oh,
there,
okay.
Q.
I'm like, what?
I got C
Like,
stands
what?
for elite. The C in Caleb stands for elite. That's all I got to say.
That's what happens when you try to use words that you don't quite know.
The season that we've all dreamt about for a year now has finally come to an end. Bears lose 2017 in the NFC divisional round to the LA Rams at home in bear weather. What happens next shall be a movie. But let's go ahead and review this game before we even talk about what those next steps shall be. Tiff, Q, as always, there's only one fan base that gets to be happy at the end of the season. Unfortunately, it's not us for the 40th year in a row. So good, bad, ugly time. Tiff, ladies first. Let's talk about the good from this game.
It's a lot of things we can pinpoint as good, but the overwhelming good to me, I think any Bears fan that was really watching that game, you have to come away and say Jaquan Brisker, our boy Kwani. That boy played his heart out. I'm talking about from the start of the game to the end of the game. You saw him flying around. He was emotional, but he was controlled. And he was using and harnessing his emotions to the best of his ability. He
Mhm.
had double the amount of tackles of anyone else on the team. He had a sack. He had a QB hit. It was like he was just everywhere, impacting everything. And, they were getting to Matthew Stafford and they were getting in his head because he was trying to get that ball out. He didn't care who he was throwing it to, sailing it. They were in his head and that pressure was getting to him. So Jaquan Brisker, just seeing him, and it was kind of sad because like after the game, hearing him talk, it kind of feels like he felt like this is probably his last game for the Bears and his last game in
Better
Soldier
not be.
Field. And he he was trying to leave it all on the table and he was trying to, because he talks so much about how much he appreciates the city, loves the fans, wants to play for the fans, loves his teammates. So it really felt like he was like, if this is my swan song, I'm going out and giving it every ounce that I have. So that he was just electric. Like he was the MVP, certainly to start that game for me. And he really set the tone for the rest of the defense. And it seemed like once he really locked in, they were all behind him and kind of working together. So I have to make Jaquan Brisker, our boy Kwani, my good.
Yeah, I hope that's not Brisker's last game. And I understand the Bears are up against the cap. They've only got about $6 million in space in 2026, but through some converting some roster bonuses and some restructures, they could open up like 35 million for next year. You got to bring Brisker back. You have to. I feel like the last 6 or 7 weeks, he's really been playing his best ball. Like that's the Brisker we know. I think the healthier the Bears defense gets, the more you can utilize Brisker close to the line of scrimmage when you have all your corners at full strength. Brisker's just a big difference maker. And I think back to the 2018 season, our last division championship, and we had Adrian Amos, who was kind of similar to Brisker, but I think Brisker is way more versatile and way more dynamic. But we let him walk, and the defense just wasn't the same the next year. We didn't have that physicality, that fire. And I think, just like Adrian Amos back in 2018 team, he led that secondary with physicality and fire. Brisker brings all that. Plus, he's a better, more dynamic player than Amos. So yeah, I hope that's not his swan song. Ryan, this is the kid you drafted. One of you, I don't remember if Brisker was his first pick ever, or was it Gordon?
I think Kyler was his first pick.
Then Brisker was his second pick. And I think this is one of the guys that you hit on. So I think it's important that you bring him back, that you sign him back. I think he's really important to Dennis Allen defense, and it'd be great for the continuity. I think he's the number one priority going into the offseason. Sign him back. And I'd say that realizing Kevin Byard just had an all-pro year, is also a free agent. But Brisker's like 26. I think his best football is ahead of him, and he seems like he's finally shaking that injury bug. That's a guy that has to be the number one priority in off. My good is going to be his teammate who was also taken that same year. You just brought him up, Kyler Gordon. It is wonderful to see Brisker and Gordon healthy because as Bears fans, we have not been able to get that. Not only have we not been able to see them healthy individually, it's very rare we see them both on the field at the same time. And seeing both those guys on the field on the both time, they are a headache for defenses. They're active in coverage. They're active around the line of scrimmage. They are fearless. They take on blocks. They influence the run game. Uh, Not to take a shot at anybody, but you saw down at the goal line in run support when Kyron Williams bounced outside, Jalen Johnson was stiff armed, and you're not stiff arming Kwani, you're not stiff arming Gordon. When they hit backs, they go down. They get to the quarterback. They aid the pass rush. I think these two guys, if they had been healthy all year, and I know Brisker played all year, but he didn't play with Gordon. You had both those guys healthy all year. I think the story of the 2025 Bears defense is different. But yeah, Kyler Gordon, I don't know. The things I want to say about him sounds like I can just take Tiff's dialogue on Brisker and just insert Gordon's name. He did the exact same thing. Active at the line of scrimmage, left it all on the line, played with heart, played well in coverage. Fortunately, Gordon is actually signed. He signed his extension. We'll have him around for the foreseeable future. But yeah, Gordon played his ass off, and I like that Gordon Brisker. If Brisker was the defensive MVP, and I don't think anybody would disagree, he was the defensive MVP. Gordon was the runner-up. If I was placing second place votes, it'd be Kyler Gordon. So I really hope we get to see those guys together next season healthy, because I think the Lions are looking for a safety. And like Amos going to Green Bay, it would break my heart if I see the Lions put in an offer for Jaquan Brisker. Remember, he's a Penn State guy too, so he's in that area of Pennsylvania that's closer to Michigan. That would break my heart seeing Brisker in that Lions jersey. Ryan Pace, you got to get it done. Somebody please get Pace on the phone. Tell him to call Brisker's agent.
Polls.
Get him.
Why you
I'm
always
sorry.
call that man Ryan Pace?
Sorry. Probably flashing back to the last disappointing playoff loss. Somebody tell Ryan Poles, please get on the phone, get to Brisker's agent. Don't wait till free agency. Get him extended before free
Please.
agency. Don't leave us like that. There are too many teams. I think the Rams might be looking for a safety too. I would hate to see Brisker ending up on a rival in San Fran or one of these other teams that can use safety. I think all 32 teams could use a Jaquan Brisker. So Poles, please get on the phone, talk to Brisker's agent, get him back for 26.
Get him back, please. Like, I mean, and I know the issue with him has been health, right? He
He
has
played all 17
concussion.
this
He's
year.
had concussion, but he played all 17 this year. So if you were leery
19.
about it in the offseason and you wanted to see, he played all the games this year. And it seems like him and Kyler are besties. You know what I'm saying? Like they play so well off each
They
other
do.
in the game, and it seems like off the field they're good friends too. So
And
it's
a
like
nightmare
not
for
that the
offense.
NFL is about friendship, but you want those connections, those
Chemistry.
players that feed off each other, have chemistry, know each other. So yeah, they were the dynamic duo. I mean, the rest of the defense played well, but I guarantee people that don't watch the Bears was watching that game like, damn, number 9 and number 6 getting at it.
To piggyback or to bookend rather this conversation about contracts, Brisker isn't the only bit of work that Ryan Poles has to get done this all season. His safety counterpart is also free agent Kevin Byard. So is Andrew Billings, Case Keenum, Travis Homer, Alameda Zacchaeus, Chris Williams, Jonathan Owens, Nashawn Wright, Dominique Robinson, Noah Sewell, and Q's favorite player on the team, Braxton Jones. So it's a
You got
lot
to
of
put that on
guys.
my name. Listen, a lot
It's
of those names you said are expendable. You're not going to be able to bring everybody back. I feel like other than Brisker, and I know this sounds strange because when Byard is an all pro, I think you can let Byard walk. I would love to make him an offer, but I think, the guy's about to be 33, 34. The reality of it is how long can you expect a guy to play at a high level? I think Billings, you can find a replacement for him in the draft. I think that's the good thing. We don't have a lot of pending free agents. So I think we can focus, or I think we should focus on bringing Brisker back. I wouldn't mind bringing Nashawn and Kevin Byard back, but I think we could replace what they do. And turnovers are a year-to-year thing. Not saying Kevin Byard hasn't been a guy that puts himself in a position to make those turnovers. But, if Kevin Byard isn't getting the picks, how much is he affecting the game? Brisker, his impact shows up even if he's not getting turnovers, but the guy's impactful. I just hope we bring him back.
I saw Tremaine could be on the cutting block too.
You know what? Me and you, Pay, we were talking, backstage, growing up watching Urlacher and Briggs and how they diagnose run plays like this, and we're making, stops on running backs in the backfield at the line of scrimmage. You don't see Tremaine Edmonds playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, stopping running backs for losses or at the line of scrimmage. I mean, the run game is not just on the defensive line. You just don't see Edmonds making a lot of impact plays in the run game. I know his strength is in coverage, but we're in the era where we got to start looking at the salary cap and looking at what makes sense. Does it make sense to pay Edmonds what you're paying him?
I mean, while we're talking about all these potential exits from the 2025 Bears, I do want to use my good to talk about the culture and the era that has been, I guess, planted in the soil here around the museum campus over there on Roosevelt and Lake Shore. A reporter asked Jalen Johnson after the game what head coach Ben Johnson has brought to the team. He answered pretty emphatically that he's established a winning culture. And you saw that in the team's resilience game after game after game. And especially if you don't watch the Bears on a week-to-week basis, you saw it in that game Sunday night against a Super Bowl contender. I guess the earliest favorite for a Super Bowl, for be a Super Bowl winner in this season. They're the team that peaked earliest, the LA Rams. And the Bears had them dead to rights for most of that game. They had the resilience. You saw them fight back and send that game into overtime. And while I'm talking about that, you can't have a real new coach in the NFL team without the QB. Caleb Williams. We talked about this last week, but Marvel Studios was at its height and steady dropping new banger after banger. And you had to constantly redo your top 5 list. That's what it's like watching Caleb week after week. He steady drops a new bomb, and you have to ask, like, God damn, Tiff, was that his best pass of his career?
Every week,
4th and 4.
It's just something spectacular. And, Caleb is starting to emerge as elite. The C in Caleb stands for elite.
That was Cam Newton. That was eclectic. That was real. That's what you did
okay.
there.
I'm like, what?
C stands for elite. The C in Caleb stands for elite. That's all I got to say.
That's what happens when you try to use words that you don't quite know.
4th and 4, and the game literally on the line, just like the week past when it was 4th and 8 against the Packers. They get pressure on Caleb, but he turns around and gets his Usain Bolt
like
on.
this.
I was like, bro, what are you doing? Is he finna be dead or Orlovsky and run out the end zone? What is you doing, bro?
Oh, man, Caleb,
like,
I've had so many moments where I'm looking like this at Caleb.
Like, it's over,
and
bro.
Then I'm
this
celebrating.
Is insanity. This man went back 45 yards. You never see it.
He completed. Listen, he completed. It was 4th and 4, and he threw a 14-yard touchdown. It just so happens that pass actually flew 51 yards in the air
crazy.
Off his back
foot.
foot.
Sold himself on his yards. He got 14 yards for that. That's crazy.
That man, and I had the same expression you had, Q. I'm like, man, as soon as he started running, I'm like, oh, he's gonna throw this ball into the 4th row, and that's our season. It so happened the camera pans over and it just falls into Cole Kmet's lap. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
This dude is crazy. Man, listen, everything that's happened this season and the saltiness we might have how the season ended, even though I felt like it was gravy, I felt like this game go either way, and I'm happy regardless because we exceeded all my expectations. And you can have certain feelings about how it ended because we did let this one get away. But I am so happy that 1, we got the culture, and 2, we got the quarterback. Moving forward, I am so good. And just like the Bears, we gonna be so good. Unfortunately, I did just harp on that L. L's are never good. But so what's our bad? Q, what's the bad from this game?
My bad was in a close loss, a game where you lost by 3 points. We passed up on 2 opportunities to kick field goals well within Cairo Santos' range. Listen, I'm appreciative of Ben Johnson. I'm appreciative of the staff he's put together. Um, Speaking of losses, I hope it's not true, but it looks like Eric Bieniemy could be leaving. And to be fair, he's overqualified as a running backs coach. So I get it. Um, but I hope he's not heading back to Kansas City to be an offensive coordinator. To me, I don't want to get on the soapbox, but that's unfair. If Matt Nagy gets to go leave Kansas City twice as an offensive coordinator to be a head coach, and Eric Bieniemy has to go back
Can't
to
do it once.
Kansas City as the offense coordinator and never got a chance to be a head coach, I'm going to be looking at the NFL with the side eye because Eric definitely deserves to be a head coach at some point. If I mean, we know Andy Reid is the mastermind of the offense there. How does Nagy, the nepotism baby, continue to get head coaching jobs? And the Kansas City offense wasn't even good this year. What do you mean he's a finalist for a hit? Uh, You know what? That's somebody else's problem. That's somebody else's problem. But in a year where I'm appreciative of Ben
The
Johnson,
SEC is going the SEC is gonna take turns beating that ass.
listen,
Is
I'm
he going to
appreciative.
college?
University of Tennessee.
Oh, I thought he wanted a pro coaching job. Oh,
Wait,
okay.
he's going to University of Tennessee.
Reportedly, he's going to University of Tennessee, and the
But they
Bulldogs,
had that big
the
fat
roll,
guy. They fired their coach. You talking about the Vols, the orange team?
yeah, the
Volunteers?
Volunteers,
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's a good place for Nagy. He can have the club dub in there with the kids and
and Club Dub was lit, man.
club
Y'all be
dub
on
was
Nagy
lit. I ain't
head,
gonna
bro,
lie.
but I like Nagy. He
Hey,
ain't ended up working out, but I like Nagy, man. I ain't gonna get on
listen,
him like
I'm not
Eberflus.
saying Nagy's not a good coach. I think he is a good coach. I just think the enemy has accomplished the same things, as a coordinator, as an assistant as Nagy. So he deserves a chance too. Listen, I'm not against Nagy. I think he did do good things here. Came in rookie of the year. Came in, turned the team around. He brought a culture too. I think Ben Johnson has a little bit more longevity. I think he's the upgraded version of Nagy.
Definitely.
But in a game that close, um, and I felt like all year there was a couple fourth downs where I'm just scratching my head. Ben, punt the ball. Ben, kick the field goal. And I think, coming from the Lions, they were a team where he spent more time with. He had a Monron St. Brown and Jared Goff from the minute he got there. There's more chemistry. They understand the playbook better. You understand their strengths and weaknesses better. I just felt like in a team where you're still installing the offense, you got so many young guys. I just felt like a couple times, like, Ben, take the points. And I like his aggressiveness. I do. There's times where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, leave the offense on the field. Let's go for it. I do. But I just felt in the divisional round playoff game, you're going against a stingy defense. Your defense is playing well. You're not behind on the scoreboard. I would have just loved in that first drive instead of it in an interception. Man, go get the points on that fourth down. Put the pressure on Stafford and that offense to catch up to you when our defense is flying around. In another series, take the points. We lost by 3, and I can't help but, and I think that's ifs. They say about ifs and ands. If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk, all that.
It was fifth,
But but
we'd
but
all be drunk.
it's fair to ask what impact would that have had on the games if we just took the field goals, took the points, and were ahead and making the Rams. They're the ones chasing us. Maybe Matt Stafford forces the ball and throws a pick. Maybe it's not your quarterback throwing a pick. So and it hurts that on the fourth down, we had a turnover of downs, and then you had a pick. So those are turnovers. And in the playoff game, it's hard. It's hard in the regular season game. It's hard to overcome turnovers against really good teams. And I just think that, I think Ben did a great job. I think he needs to, do some self evaluation in the offseason. Man, in certain games, let's take the points. This is a playoff game. Points are going to be hard. Defenses are going to be at their most attentive where they should be. They're going to be paying attention to details. They're going to be at their stingiest. Then I would have just loved you taking the points. That's my bad. Don't leave points on the scoreboard. Make better decisions.
Yeah, I feel kind of about that. I don't know. I'm conflicted, right? Because everybody's a Monday morning quarterback. Now that
Hmm.
we know the
Yeah,
results, right? Everybody says we should have did this, we should have did that, and everybody's like, you should have just took
and
the
it's
point,
different
kicked
in the
the field
moment.
goal.
Yeah, it's different in the
But in
moment.
every game, you hear field goals ain't gonna win it. Field goals
Yeah,
ain't gonna win it against the Rams. And I think the only time I actually felt like we should have kicked the field goal was that first drive, like you said,
yeah.
because I felt like we were driving down the field, we had momentum, and I wanted us to get
Ended
points
with
because
points.
last
Yeah,
week We drove down the field. We had a 4th and 1 or something like that. We went for it and we didn't get it.
We did,
And it was
yeah.
kind of like a buzzkill. So that was the only time I felt like, let's just take the points. Honestly, none of the other 4th downs did I feel like that. Because the
Mhm.
only other one I was iffy is I think we was on like the 30 or 31. And that's
Mhm.
within Cairo's range. But it was a nasty day. You just
It
never know
was.
what can happen. Kick. And I think my only thing with the Monday morning quarterbacking is if you're saying we should have kicked the field goal, we made, I think, 3 out of 6 4th downs. That means you're taking a touchdown off the board too, right? Because that
Mhm.
touchdown to DJ Moore was on 4th down. So,
Mhm.
you start doing that math and pretending like, oh, if we went on it on this one 4th down where we didn't get it and got the points, yes, you can say that now that we know the results. It's just hard. The game may have gone a whole different way. Like you
Yeah.
said, instead of kicking a field goal the one time the Rams did, maybe they go for, you can't say what would have happened. But that first drive, I do agree. I felt like, man, let's not do what we did last week. Let's keep
So that
momentum
one
and at
was
least get
definitely,
some
yeah.
points on the board.
Q, my bad is piggybacking right off of that. We lead right into this because mine failure to capitalize on the momentum. The Bears had 7 consecutive possessions where they had the opportunity to take the lead, and they
Wow.
failed to find the end zone on any of them. They only scored 1 field goal across those 7 opportunities.
Gee.
If you all were watching the game, how I was watching the game, the energy felt like the Bears had that.
Yeah,
'Cause
it
one,
did.
the defense from Dennis Allen, this was probably the best the defense has played against an elite opponent all season, right?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Just on how we was just turning them around every time they got the ball 3 and out, or if it wasn't a 3 and out, it was a weak, 6-play series for them. At no point in the middle part of that game that I feel like this is the number 1 offense in the league that we holding down. No, this is just a team that we've been beat. Like, we're not this gonna be another one of them games where we are preparing to win how we prepare to win. And we like to win games at the end. I didn't feel like at no point that this game was gonna be an L. I don't know if y'all saw the part in the game where they said this is one of the few times in NFL history where they had the passing leader in the NFL. They had the reception leader in the NFL and had the touchdown reception leader in the NFL all on one offense. And
Mhm.
the Bears gave them squat. My slip for Puka Nacua over 7.5 catches did not cash because the Bears had locked him up. Vontae Adams was pretty much a no-show until that last drive in the overtime. Jalen Johnson and Tariq Stevens took turns tagging him up. We kind of squandered that defensive effort because the
Unfortunately.
offense yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, those are the breaks though, because the offense, and this is something we got to fix in the offseason. The offense just did not capitalize when he had all the momentum, and that goes towards what you were saying, Q, because there was there was Ben Johnson going for it on 4th down, not kicking field goals when he had the opportunity. Do you all know in the 2 playoff games this season? The Bears were 5-12 on 4th down opportunities. 5 for 12. Not only is that a lot of 4th down opportunities that we're going for, but we are not even hitting halfways on them boys. And that's with a struggling defense. Now, granted, again, we didn't struggle this last game, but I'm assuming the decision to go for it so many times because you anticipated struggling against that team. Maybe, and again, I'm like you, Q. I'm not Ben Johnson. I'm not on his level. I'm not a football coach, but maybe we don't play too much into the analytics. Maybe we play into the feel of the game. The defense actually is holding up their end of the bargain. So maybe we can use Torrey Taylor a little bit. Maybe we can use Cairo a little bit. Maybe we can't play the field position game because the defense is doing what they're supposed to do. I got a question for y'all. Ben Johnson said after the game that he felt the team was struggling in some of their goal-to-go packages,
Mm.
their short yardage execution.
Mhm.
Do you all feel like he should have once again went for it since he was doing it so much that game? He should have went for it again for a 2-point conversion at the end of the game there.
I don't feel like that. I feel like you got the momentum and you're at home, and I felt like we did have the momentum. I was okay with playing for overtime, and overtime played into our hands. Before the Caleb pick, we were driving, we were getting in field goal range. So I think the decision to get the extra point and go, I'm fine with that. I think you go for 2 when you're on the road in a hostile environment. But you had Chicago providing you that energy, that electricity. Your team is responding. I was okay with going for the extra point.
Absolutely not. I am so glad. When we scored that touchdown, I'm like, kick the field goal, kick the field goal, That's just what I'm saying in my head because I'm like, let's not go for the 2 points. And it wasn't just because they continued to stop us on 4th and 1, but hello, that should be something that factors into your decision. They continued to stop us at the goal line. So just because we had that miraculous touchdown, we've got all the momentum. The crowd is going crazy. Like, you are at home. Everything has switched your way. Everything said go for the tie. It's not like the Rams were just playing so much better than us. And it's like, if we give them a chance in overtime, there's no way that we're going to win. It didn't feel like that at all. As a matter of fact, all you heard the whole week coming up is the Rams going to have 500 yards. Puka Nacua may have 7 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, he's upset. They were talking about the Packers, so he's going to get his revenge. That's all you kept hearing is what they were going to do to our team and to our defense. And I'm so heated that we didn't win because I wanted us to move on, but also because, they didn't do none of that shit. Like, yes, Puka had a key play at the end. Devontae had a key play at the end. And yes, they ended up winning. But they didn't do shit they were supposed to be out there doing. We really dominated that game. We just couldn't capitalize on it. So I was like 100% kick that field goal and kick the extra point and tie it up. But it's ironic to me, like, again, Monday morning quarterbacking, because all I'm hearing from the talking heads now is how Ben Johnson should have went for 2. Ben Johnson should have went for 2. And here they go talking about he was aggressive all game. So why at that point of time weren't you aggressive? Now tell me what would have happened if that man would have went for 2 and we would have missed it. Them same people would have been calling for that man's head. So it's like you're damned if you do it, damned if you don't. But in that situation, as a fan, I haven't heard many fans say they wanted us to go for 2. I wanted definitely for us to go for this because that would have been more heartbreaking to me, honestly, than the way it ended. If we would have went for 2 and not, because you always think, what would if we would have went to overtime? Of course, you could do the same thing with the 2-point conversion, but we wasn't hitting on them shits all game. Why did we think? And people kept saying, oh, well, the defense was stunned because we had scored. Well, shit, the offense was just as emotional and going through all these things too. Like, I don't think they would have been so caught off guard that we were guaranteed to get that 2 points. Yeah, I was definitely for kicking.
I mean, there's an argument both ways, right? I would prefer that we play it safe there. I'm with you both. Like, and listen, the offense has not been cooking. Let's just go ahead and kick this
And the
extra point,
defense had
and
been
let's
cooking.
right. I'm good with that. I like that. However, with the offensive mind and the offensive personnel that this team does have, I just know that there's a layup play in that playbook somewhere. This is a play that we know we're going to hit 10 out of 10 times. That's the time when you run that. I'm not saying that Ben Johnson's that he's capping. He felt the team wasn't executing in their go-to-go package. Fine. Then you felt more comfortable running Santos out there for the extra point. Cool. I'm okay with that decision. I'm okay with how it turned out. However, I have belief that if we had decided to just throw Caleb over the line of scrimmage, like a crash test dummy, just everyone prop Caleb up over the line of scrimmage with the ball, and we get that, we could be talking about a win right now. We could be doing a good, better, best. Bonus question before you get to your bag, Tiff. How do you all feel being coached in this game overall? Right. And more importantly, how do you all feel like that last minute offensive line switcheroo? Do you think that added to some of our offensive struggles?
Maybe. I mean, they kept talking about how we continued to run to Darnell right side over and over. I mean, the broadcast team might have said it 5,000 times. Like, everybody knows which way they're running and maybe they don't trust. Maybe they should go to the left. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And who knows if that's because I actually think the line held up way better than I thought they would. So let me just
Yeah.
start right there. 'Cause I'm like, we moving who, where, and we bringing who into the lineup? Like, except them saying that and calling Jordan McFadden out, we weren't paying attention to him, which is a
Yeah.
great thing for the offensive line. And, some of that is how elusive Caleb is and all those things, but I really think they held up fairly well. But that could have been part of the reason why we're continuing to run it up the middle, right? And again, this is one of the things that's so ironic to me. When Ben does all the trick plays and all these and they don't work, everybody's like, just keep it simple. Stop doing that stupid, tricky shit. Well, this game we don't win. And it's like, where's the Ben Johnson magic? Where was the trick play? So it's like, again, when things work, it sounds good. And then when it doesn't, you don't want it. So I don't know. But I did feel like he kept it, he took those bells and whistles away a little bit, and he tried to keep more to the fundamentals. We definitely didn't go away from the run game this game, which we've complained about in the past. It wasn't working as effectively as we would have liked, but we continued to try to run. So I actually was okay with his game plan. Save going, not kicking the field goal that first drive. Like I said, there's not in that last play I wasn't a fan of, but other than that, there are not a ton of things that I feel like I would just ding him for myself.
Pay, you've pointed out how well Darnell Wright has played, and you've pointed out um, you're one of the few that has pointed out Jonah Jackson has had a really good season. And I think kind of the casual observer watching the game maybe felt the Bears were, running to the right side. That's what they do a lot of the season, though. They've ran behind Darnell Wright and Jonah Jackson. That right side has been good. The left side's been good too, but that right side has been such a physical force. And the left side has had some flux because we've seen Braxton Jones over there. We've seen Theo Benedict over there. We've seen Ozzie Trapillo over there.
Poor
So
Theo, bro. They said, nah, we not gonna go with you.
that surprised me. As far as the move, I trust Ben
Theo played
Johnson. He almost dropped a pass. So like Chips, you were talking about the trick plays. He was out there as an
Oh
eligible
yeah, that
receiver,
was, I
and the
forgot about
ball.
that one. That was the one. It was
number
like, all right, bro.
79 with the
I
number
don't think
79
that was the
with
read
the
though. He
pass
was
to
out there, but
defense.
yeah, I was like, don't do that again. Take
So
him off.
I don't have any complaints. Jordan McFadden played well. We've seen Joe Tooney play well at left tackle. When injuries happen, everybody's left scrambling, especially with a guy like Trapillo, where he had just, and that sucks. That really sucks because he had just established himself going forward that it looks like he's going to be the left tackle of the future. And then to get a patella injury, which just didn't jeopardize his or end his the rest of his 2025-26 season because he obviously out for the playoffs, but that puts into jeopardy the start of his 2026 season. I mean, doing the math, he's not going to be here in September. Best case scenario with a guy that size, you see Ozzy back on the field. Best case scenario, late October, early November, possibly December. So I felt like, Ben Johnson made a decision, maybe the matchups. And Jordan McFadden played well. Tooney played well at left tackle. And you got to remember one thing, me and Pay are fantasy guys. The Rams shut down Jameer Gibbs. They shut down Christian McCaffrey. This is a good defense. The Rams might be the most balanced team in the NFL. Them and the Patriots, they're strong on all three levels of defense. So you're not going to just have your way with them. So yeah, you're gonna have resistance. You're not gonna have the DeAndre Swift and Calvin Nunn guy going for 100 yards like they did against the Eagles, who defense wasn't playing well against the run at the time. So I don't have no problem with Ben's moves because this is playoff football. Nothing is going to come easy in this round. It's going to be tough. These are the toughest teams in the NFL. So yeah, you're not going to run for 6 yards a pop. You're playing against good teams. So I don't feel like the how the game went was a reflection of Ben misplaying that. I'm just fine with that. This is playoff football. These are the top team. So yeah, I was fine with Ben Johnson's decision and how it transpired going forward.
And if we being
I
real, like everybody regards Sean McVay as one of the best coaches, one
Yeah,
of the most brilliant offensive minds. If we keeping it real, he coached a way worse game than Ben Johnson did. And if they would have lost, they would have been on his head. And he owned up to it. He said, I got to be better. So it's like, let's give Ben a little grace, even if we do think he made a mistake here and there. This is his second playoff game. And a coach who is well regarded as one of the top coaches in the league coached way worse than him in that game, in my opinion. So, I'm sure he's very introspective. Like we said, I disagree a little bit about the fourth down thing and him changing his approach going forward. I don't know if he's an analytics guy. I think that might just be part of his like competitive, like my plays are so great. Like, I don't know if he's leaning on the analytics. I think that's really how he feels. So that may just be something we got to kind of take with the package of him. I
yeah,
mean, he did that shit in
yeah, that's
Detroit.
definitely
Now,
true.
is that Dan or was that him? to their
Ofa.
detriment. I mean, in the playoff games, they wasn't getting fourth downs either, and they kept going for them. So
And to
You know what
answer
you're getting when you hire Ben Johnson. You know what you're
exactly.
getting.
and I guess I didn't answer the second part of your question when you asked about how Ben did in his, comparison to Sean McVay. They both made their mistakes. And Sean McVay's been doing this a lot longer than Ben Johnson. I think also I'm giving Ben Johnson grace, just like Caleb Williams is a young player, just like Ozzie Trapillo's a young player. Ben's not even 40 years old. He's a first time head coach. Bill Belichick, as a first time head coach, was fired. you know, wasn't didn't have a successful tenure. I think Andy Reid was good as his first time with the Eagles, but again, that ended with him getting fired. We've seen some of the best coaches in the NFL getting fired. So I'm going to give Ben Johnson grace. Coaching is hard, but playing football is hard. And no matter what you do, unless it ends in a touchdown and a win, people are going to second guess everything you do. And even in wins, they second guess what you do. There's multiple. It's not a true false thing. It's multiple choice every time. Whether you score with passing the ball, you might have been able to score running the ball. So there's lots of variables involved. So yeah, this is Ben Johnson's first year, and I think just like players get better after their rookie year, I think you'll see Ben Johnson getting better. I thought in season I saw him getting better and saw him evolving in the first year as a coach. And the thing I like about Ben Johnson is the accountability. Hey, I own up to it. It didn't. He talked about Caleb Williams and some of the turnovers, and he said, "Look, Caleb Williams has saved my butt many times during the season when I don't think I called a good play, but he masked it, so I'm not getting criticized. He masked it with his elusiveness or his, playmaking ability or being able to avoid the rush and run for a first down." I think Ben Johnson. I think one of the things that I've enjoyed most about this year is the fact that there's accountability and there's growth from week to week. We saw Eberflus in the Fail Mary tell us that basically I didn't do anything wrong and I wouldn't change anything that I did. I would call that same defense. I wouldn't call a timeout when I see Tyreek acting a fool. I would still play soft. Basically, the players got to execute and cover my butt. And no, not so it was refreshing this year, not just to see a team go to the playoffs. Because we saw Nagy go to the playoffs. I'm not beating on Nagy, but Nagy had a little bit of stubbornness too. He get in those press conferences and he tell you what he did was right and be you, was on the back of his clipboard and he's still throwing 50 times with Mitch and Mitch looking confused. So uh it was refreshing. I think Ben Johnson will continue to evolve.
Speaking of timeouts, that it was the only other thing that I was like, I wish we would have iced the kicker. We did it with the Green Bay game, and he ended up missing. He made it the first time, then missed it. I did wish we called that timeout in overtime.
Well, Q, you did say good coaches out here getting fired. I'm assuming you weren't also adding Eberflus into that good coaches getting fired, but he is out there looking for a job. Um,
He can keep
um,
looking.
the maybe Tennessee needs
You
a
know what?
defensive
They could use
coordinator.
the defensive coordinator. Uh the hits philosophy, hustle intensity, what was it, tackling and
College kids need philosophies like that because
I mean,
they
I don't
they
know if they
ain't
need it
paying
anymore. They
attention to
got
class no
NIL
way.
money. I don't think they're trying to learn nothing.
The stronger part of the line that we've ran behind this season has always been the right side. Jonah Jackson and Darnell Wright. I didn't get to listen to the broadcast. There was a lot of commotion going on in my background.
You was outside again, wasn't you? You was commotion in your background. Yeah, your background was a bar and liquor and tits and cocaine, wasn't it?
It was,
That's why we
all of
lost.
By the third quarter, he was probably several shots in, and it was just it was literally floating.
I
Probably couldn't feel his face by the
I
fourth
no,
quarter.
no, 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 no. I didn't partake in none of the fun around me. I'm just saying I didn't get to hear the broadcast. And when I watch the game back, I'm watching all 22s. There's no broadcast to that. So I don't know what was said, but I just know watching the game, I felt like Tooney played a good game. I felt like McFadden was decent enough. But I did notice that there was there's certain instances where there was a miscommunication on some stunts, something like that. Jared Verse, he didn't get in Caleb's kitchen and like that. He didn't have a great pass rushing game, but every time he ran to his side, he was stuffing shit. I mean, I don't know if whether the decision to go against to bench Theo and just make him a receiver, mm, and have McFadden out there as the as his as the left guard was a success or not. I'm not there with my analysis yet. However, we the running game wasn't what we wanted it to be. And as we talked in the preview queue, the Rams front five, every time I seen them put five down linemen, the Bears didn't. I don't think the Bears averaged. I think they averaged about 3.5 against that front five.
When they
So
do that thing with the front five, the Rams are hard to run against. That is
yeah, they are. They're very hard.
they do that. They've always had that weird front dating back for even with Aaron Donald. You see it Donald line up at end defensive tackle. They have five guys showing. They sometimes they'll have three guys showing. The Rams do that very well.
What's your bag, Tiff?
Bad. Q mentioned no matter what you do, people gonna have something to say, and that's the culture we live in, and social media has made it so much worse because everybody's a tough Tony online. But my bad is the way that some Bears fans are responding to DJ Moore. And I'm not talking about analyzing the play, calling out what may have went right or wrong, but I'm talking about you got people talking about he's a bum, get him off the team. Like, he always does stuff like that. Just taking the exaggeration to the umpteenth level. And I even saw Corey Wooten, a former Bear. He called DJ a diva. And he said he wasn't he wasn't a good vet. And I'm like, okay, now we're jumping off the edge. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think any of our wide receivers to be pro athletes are anywhere close to deep, especially DJ Moore, who's always been the number one option. Now he's not. His production's falling off, but it doesn't feel like him and Caleb had to get that chemistry, but it never felt like sulking and at least from what I see from the team, it seems like Rome loves him. Like the younger receivers love him. So where this idea that he's a diva and he's not a good vet to the room is just crazy to me. But it's like and I'm not saying, we can look at that play and everybody's going to have a different opinion. Did DJ run the wrong route? Was it a miscommunication like Caleb said? Did he, not give his full effort? Should Caleb not have thrown into that window? Should we not have called that play? There's a million different angles to take it, and I think it's fine to analyze it. But when you taking it to the point where you calling him bums and get him off the team, let's be reminded we wouldn't even be in this place without DJ Moore. We wouldn't have beat the Packers without DJ Moore. In this game, who scored our only touchdown into the miracle to Cole Kmet? It was DJ Moore. Who had a one-handed miraculous catch a few plays before that? It was DJ Moore. Who at the beginning of the game got pulled out and evaluated for a concussion and still came back in on the next play, had a great catch and then got dropped on his damn head and still came back in. You know what I'm saying? Like, we take the humanity out of these games. Like, these people aren't human. Like, they can't make mistakes with their route, or like if they're dog tired that they can't give their whole effort. Like, to analyze the play and be upset that we lost. But coming into this season's Bear fan, let's be real. If we knew we were going to even be in this place, all of us would be overjoyed. So yes, you're upset that we didn't make it to this next round, but to turn on the team and to turn on DJ in particular to me is just wild. It's like, relax a little bit. Like, please, everybody just simmer down.
But when I say I'm overjoyed to be in this place, I'm an enemy
I'm
of the
talking about
state.
compared to now turning like we was the super, like we was Buffalo and you a Buffalo fan or something. Like, oh my God, why we didn't have these expectations coming in. This was all great. This was all exciting. To be real, if we would have lost in the first round to anybody but Green Bay, I don't think the fan base would have been that, so for us to act like, I don't know. It was just weird to me. Like the way people are responding, like people are going on his page, like to a picture of his newborn baby and going crazy on that. Like, y'all are some weirdos. Like, I don't know. Social media makes people weirdos. Because the fact that you went and sought out a stranger and found their page and went and put some hate, Like, that's some weirdo shit to me. Like, you need to go sit on somebody's couch. But I get off
Don't
my
be that guy.
diatribe.
Don't be that guy. If you do that, you a Packer fan.
On Colston's page, he actually turned his comments off. And we didn't talk about Colston much, but I'm sure they were saying the same nasty, disgusting stuff to him. So he turned his comments off. But it's like for you to go to this man's page, you don't know this man from Adam, and you would never say that shit to his face. And to go on a picture of his newborn baby and just be calling him all kind of crazy stuff and saying crazy stuff, like you're mentally ill. You need to go sit on somebody's couch and talk to somebody because I'm sorry that your life is that sad. I'm sorry. That's really it's weirdo
Let's
shit.
go.
Like it's
Let's go
weirdo
ahead and
behavior.
shout out some of these people like this. Logan _050 _ Thank you for not finishing your effing route. Emoji. You're a loser. There's another guy down here. Faith led you astray, my boy. Use your sight next time, cornball.
This our Walter Payton Man of the Year recipient now. this is who we're up guarding as. Look at all the great stuff he does in the community. Look at all the great stuff he does from Chicago. And people are acting like he didn't want to win that damn game. Y'all think sitting on your couch at home that you wanted to win that game more than damn DJ Moore did? When this is his first winning season since high school? Like, I beg your fucking, excuse my language, but people are just weird, bro.
GMB dot DeMarcus. Marcus spelled with a Q. Hey, buddy. Welcome to the New York Jets. You're a clown. Serena _5799. These are bot accounts. Get ready to
Some of them
speak
probably are, but some of them is real accounts.
And fake profiles.
It's
Yeah.
probably Packers fans under fake profiles, like the weirdos
That
they
could
are.
be.
They've been definitely Packer
fans have been weird the last 3 weeks. Over weird.
They very much have. They very much
They've
have.
been
Man,
weird their
I'm
whole
telling
life.
you, they
especially ones in Chicago.
celebrating like they beat us. It's like, bro, you don't know anyone on the Rams, but you really are so excited. We still beat you. Like,
Baby Strike 061. Run faster next season, gang. You disappointing as hell. You a clown.
I mean, like, just to literally go on someone's page that you don't know at all, even if you do know them, I think that's some weirdo lame shit. But to go on somebody's page you don't know at all, pull their shit up, sit there and type out a full message to them and post it. That is like, are you okay, bro? Are you okay? It's something going on with your self-esteem, you need to really seek some help because that is, yeah, it's not okay. But I guarantee they see DJ Moore in the streets, they wouldn't have a peep to say. Not one.
Yeah, he from North Philly. I don't want no problems. That's our bad. Last segment for this 2025 season. Q, what's your ugly?
My ugly, and it's going to continue with the receiving core. I like all the guys over there. I like DJ. Even if the last interception was on him, I think one thing I can say about DJ is he puts his body on the line. He lays it all out there. He is a bear through and through. He hates the Packers. He shows up big against the Packers. Like, before y'all get up here with your DJ hate, let's remember one thing. The touchdown clinching games in the first round and the one that pretty much gave us division were DJ Moore's. And listen, as a Bears fan, all of you wanted to beat the Packers. That was the thing everybody wanted to do. DJ Moore got you 2 wins against the Packers. So let's lay off. Yeah, it's a disappointing way to finish. DJ jogging around, that's a disappointing way to finish. But before we got to that finish, there were things that the entire offense could have worked on, so we didn't end up in overtime. First of all, Rome, you're a top 10 pick. You got to make that catch on the first drive. The ball was a little behind you. Caleb could have led you. It could have been a better pass, but you cannot allow it to go through your hands. You have to make that catch. That was the difference between you getting 7 and that drive ending in an interception. Got to make it. Coastal Loveland, you got a bright future. You may emerge as the best tight end in the league. There was too many drops today. You can't have your worst game in the biggest game of the season. Luther Burden, normally sure-handed, had a couple drops. So, and then there was, while everybody's getting on DJ, Rome looked like he was jogging it out on that last route. And I get it. They might have been tired. Y'all sitting up here, a lot of y'all couch potatoes can't even go up one flight of stairs without being out of breath. These guys been running for 60 minutes plus. So
in -7 feel like weather in an emotionally charged game. Like, come
and if
on,
you
bro.
think DJ and Rome were jogging, Go ahead and look at the defensive line, not just from the Bears. I'm talking about across the NFL. Those guys get tired. You know, you don't. This isn't a video game where you have an endless supply of stamina, where your light is green at all the time. So these guys get tired. It's a mentally, physically exhausting game. But at the same time, the receiving core has to do better. We're in the biggest game of our lives, fellas. We're in the biggest game of the season. We got to be more sure-handed. We gotta make sure that we bring those catches in, and that's one thing to work on. I like the offense. I like everybody on the offense going forward. I do. I just think these guys need another year to gel. I think they got to work on some of their flaws and mistakes, and I think everything that we've seen them do some of the bad things, I think they're correctable. I think these are correctable. They're coachable moments. You got to remember these guys haven't been in the playoffs. We don't have a veteran receiving core. It's not a Keenan Allen who's been through the wars. You know, DJ, even though he's a veteran, you know, this is only his second playoff game. So I'm not to make excuses, but uh you guys the I think the Bears were, I didn't even realize this at the end of the season. They were like fourth or fifth in drops. We got to get those drops together. We got to be more sure-handed, uh, got to reel the ball. And the thing that's disappointing about it is these are guys that are pretty much sure-handed. You know, Cole Kmet had a year where he didn't drop any passes, and we've seen him drop a couple this year. We saw him drop one against Green Bay last week. Colston Loveland, until the very end of the season, didn't have a drop to the San Francisco game, and then we saw him have a drop in the San Francisco game. We saw him have a couple drops in this game. So my bad was the receiving core with the miscommunications, the drops, whatever. Still believe in them. Let's just hope next year around this time, because next year we will be back active around this time. This isn't a fluke. Hope next year we have a better playoff run in terms of the drops and miscommunications.
Tiff, what's your
So my ugly is that this magical season is over. I mean, for all the heart attacks and almost strokes that I had, it was a joy. I've seen so many Bears fans say this was the most enjoyable season of my life. And you know, may have recency bias, but I was really sitting there thinking, and I'm like, we did, 2006, okay, 2018, I felt good about that team, but I never felt, yeah, there were some nips here and there you could call out, but I never still, even those teams, felt like I felt about this team. Like we are going somewhere. And just the magic of all the comebacks, all the improbable things that happen, finally feeling like everything that used to go wrong against us is now going right. Even when at the end it did, we ran out a little bit of magic. It was just such a joyful season. And listening to the player interviews yesterday and some of the exit ones, every single player talked about how much they loved that team, how great the team culture was, how they were sad to not be fighting with their brothers anymore. Kevin Byard, who is a vet in this league, he was like, "This is the most fun I've ever had. This is the best locker room that I've ever been in." Like every single guy, Jaquan Brisker, who again was very reflective and seemed very emotional or sad, just talking about how great the team was, how great the season was, and they just didn't want it to be over. Like you can't always capture lightning in a bottle. And, we've already lost Eric Bieniemy. Inevitably, hopefully we won't lose too many more coaches, but inevitably we're going to lose some players and new ones are going to come in. So it's just not going to be the same team. Even Grady Jarrett was saying the same thing. So it was just such a magical ride. I didn't want it to end, knowing that we, matched up against some teams. We probably were outmatched, but I just didn't want it to end, even though I'm more than happy with the season and the success of the season. It was just such a magical, feel good time that it's just sad that the season is now over.
Yeah, that does suck. But my ugly is Packer fans. Packer fans
He's
some
ugly.
goofies.
Now before you get into your ugly, are we talking physically ugly, visually ugly, mentally ugly? What exact ugly? Because I haven't seen too many attractive people wear Packers uniform and cheer for them. So if you know an attractive Packers fan, please.
I don't think there's a difference. All of the above. I mean,
Okay.
the type of mentality you got to have to choose to be a Packers is
Especially if you're not from Wisconsin. I can understand being born into the ugly. I can understand that a little bit. You didn't have a choice. You were probably conditioned, mentally. It's almost like Stockholm syndrome. You
It
start
is.
loving your captors. But to be born in Illinois and then just hate your parents that much and hate your family and hate your friends and hate yourself, it's definitely when I look at Chicago Packer fans, it's definitely self hatred. And I think like we've talked a lot about mental health in this. Tiff said that you need to sit on somebody's couch. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, just want to tell you, you Chicago Packer fans, you're loved a little bit, but do better. I
Please.
just want better for you. I want you to want better for you. You don't have to do this to yourselves. You could choose better for yourself. But the love has to start from within for you to be able to change. You have to start practicing self-love. You don't have to live this life as a Chicago Packer fan. It's ugly and it's bitter. Go ahead, Pay.
You was cooking there. But while you gave them some words of encouragement, I'm gonna just go ahead and bring them right back down. Y'all some goofies. Y'all were the biggest Rams fans online. The Rams don't even have that many
Rams
fans,
don't even
but it
have
was
no fans, bro. You didn't see one Rams jersey in that stadium last night.
You did.
Not one.
everybody. But everybody was celebrating the Bears loss online. Whether it was Blue Sky or Threads, I don't go to the other app that where it's mostly porn, mostly porn and Nazis. I don't go to other apps, so I don't know what was going on over there. But all the other ones that I do be on, the Meta apps, Blue Sky, Edit, all these Packer fans that was celebrating, that was big up in the Rams, y'all some clowns.
Couldn't do it yourselves.
Y'all the big.
They
You
can't
you
no
was
more.
happy for LA to do something that you couldn't do. You're right. You're right, Q. I got into it with a guy at the gym earlier that I see every day. See him every day. Never, we don't have a head nod, do nothing like this. But today of all days, he wore all his green and piss yellow. He got the Letterman jacket on.
Like the Packers did something. They always be like, this the Bears Super Bowl. Babes, I hate to inform you, but you see,
How do you know about
Right.
the Super Bowl?
that math is not mathing. It's not. If they didn't put 7th seed into place, you all wouldn't have made the playoffs damn near the last 4 or 5 years. You've been the 7th seed every time.
The, the,
Okay?
the
So if
last
they didn't
time
expand the playoffs, you should relax.
The last time Packer fans were in a Super Bowl, Obama was in office. Trump was running around on the game show and playing with Diddy at Epstein Island fun resorts. How do you know about the Super Bowl?
They're like they Kansas City, like they just be running off Super Bowls. Like, man, come on, bro.
Yeah.
If y'all
See, the delusion is crazy with this fan base, B. I don't understand. I don't know where they came from. I don't know what type of bad water they drunk as a kid to make them act out like this way. Anthony Davis, I'm really disappointed in you, bro. I'm not disappointed in Lil Wayne. He's been a bandwagon fan his whole life and everything he does. But the rest of y'all gotta cut it out. I'm about sick of y'all. Y'all gonna have to get used to this new world where y'all underneath our boot. Get used to it because we ain't letting up no time soon. We gonna keep stomping. All these cornballs they keep talking about what the Bears used to. It's the same old Bears. Nah, bucko. This a whole new wave. Bears ain't never taught me nothing ever before, but this season sure did. They taught me never to count myself out. Always push through rush times. Block out the ops, but don't forget to spin the block and get your get back. If you are a Bears fan and you feeling a little down after yesterday, conclusion to the season, don't even trip. We've been here before as a city. Let's remind you 10 years ago when the Cubs got swept in 2015 in a
Yeah.
championship series. They came right back 2016 with a chip on their shoulder and ran it out. You've seen it in the early with the Bulls. They got beat down by the ops in Detroit. Came right back in 91 and said, "No, we got this time." Ran it off, right? The Bears are no different. 1984 against the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
Got shut out. I think it was 24-0. What happened next? Ran off 24 of the next 25 games.
Wow.
The Blackhawks got who they lost that series to, but they had a tough playoff exit. And then came back in 2010 with a chip on their shoulder, and they ran off 4 Stanley Cups. This is just the beginning. It's the new era, and the Bears are not backing down. The Bears are for it all. This ain't the last time you're gonna hear good, better, best.
period.
Bear down.
Bear down.
Now,
Thanks for listening to this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watch it on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all the guys from Chicago, we say three things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.